Yeah, we're seeing it across a number of different fronts. I think the report shows that this concept of advanced targeting, so moving beyond age and gender, is really seeing an uptick. And it's something we talk about in the industry, overall. And I think what's really interesting is that there's facts to support that. A year ago, about a third of our campaigns that we saw from an advertising perspective had advanced targeting tied to it. So going beyond age and gender into behaviors, purchase behaviors, even first-party data for that matter. And then we've seen in this quarter that it's increased to about 2/3 of all campaigns have this advanced targeting tied to it. And it's not to say that the demo targeting components aren't valuable and important. It's still a dominant play within the video space. But it's just interesting to see that with the focus on programmatic and audience-based buying, advertisers and agencies are really adopting that. Overall, I think the industry is embracing data like it hasn't in the past. Not only from a targeting perspective, there's a tremendous amount of great data providers that exist out there. But I think other brands that have started to come into kind of the forefront in the digital space from a branding perspective have started to use it, even their own data. And how do they bring on or embrace their own data that they have had at their disposal for quite a long time in a privacy-compliant way, not only for targeting purposes, but also from a measurement perspective. And it's this shift. I think many advertisers see that they are sitting on all this data, and it's a valuable source of information that is tremendously effective in an online video marketplace. I'd say overall what we're seeing is a fairly steady increase of targeting the more mature audience. And we see consumption trends continuing to increase as far as the more mature audience, 55+ demographics. And with that, we also are seeing a pretty steady increase in the targeting of those audiences. Overall, we saw about 3% increase of the targeting the 55+ audience, and then the dominant kind of area, around 23% of all advertisers target the 45 to 54 audience. And the reason being, I think, is primarily driven by the biggest spenders, and that is the categories of CPG as well as auto. There's often been a debate, do you do custom creative for the online environment or do you not? And I think we go back and forth for the right advertisers and for the right brands and for the right objectives, absolutely. But what we are seeing is around 60+% of campaigns still continue to use 30-second ads. And the reason being, I think a lot of advertisers and agencies are seeing this as an extension of their TV, using sight, sound, and motion in multiple facets to reach their audiences.
Tell us a little bit about cross-screen and what you've been finding.
It is certainly early on. The demand and the hype and the interest is in that. As it relates to consumption, YouTube yesterday said 40% of their streams are actually coming from mobile devices. So we know consumers are there. I think two things are kind of holding it back. One is the idea or concept around like-minded targeting that they see in digital across multiple screens, as well as measurement, audience measurement across multiple screens. We're working very hard to actually crack that problem. We have some great products that do that. But at the same time, I think if you look at it, we have seen great growth, around 120% growth year over year for multi-screen, so non-PC. But at the same time, it's still small. It's between 96 and 97% still resides on the PC. It's embracing this concept. So this idea of programmatic, using machine-based ad serving, ad measurement, ad delivery, ad decisioning to better drive efficiencies. But when I say efficiencies, efficiency is tied to performance. So it's as much about efficiency as it is about effectiveness. And I think there's been a number of different reports. Forrester actually put out a report not too long ago talking about this concept of the DMP, data management platform. And what is it, how do they use it, and how do they embrace it? And I think one of the biggest quotes that I saw coming out of the commentaries was, the biggest question is, what do I do? And I think advertisers working in conjunction with their agencies are figuring out great ways to start to use this data, match it up with third-party data, and get a better holistic view of their marketing dollars. How do they spend? How do they efficiently match up multi-screens and drive the ultimate ROI measurement on the back end? I think there's a lot of things that have happened over this last almost 12 months, and we've been really excited about that. One is the advancements in our demand-side solutions, as well as the advancements in our data management offerings that we provide to both agencies, advertisers, and publishers or broadcasters. In addition to that, it's continued push for the launch of Revenue Engine, which is a supply-side platform that we've offered. And we're seeing great interest in that product, as well as great results from using that product. So we're really happy with that. Our continued effort is going to be on the global expansion, and that, without a doubt, is a big focus for Videology. By the end of the year, we'll be in 25 different markets. I'd say in addition to that, we also are really focused on figuring out that concept of linking up cross screens, so audience measurement across the individual screens, and solutions for maximizing targeting and effectiveness across them. Tied to that is really pushing the linear TV efforts. And how do you make linear TV or addressable TV become a reality? I know a lot of us have been talking about it for quite some time, but the reality, I think it is here. And I think we'll start to see a lot of it at the end of this year, but more importantly, I think 2014 will be a big year for it as we start to see upticks in the usage of it, both by advertisers and the support of it from a supply side or a publisher and broadcaster side of the business.